Hey everybody, I'm Lori Rudiman. Welcome back to the lunchtime Eastern time edition of Shift. We are a career summit focusing on you, and I am super lucky to be here today with my dear friend Lindsey Pollak. We're going to talk about her in a second, but just really quickly, we are sponsored today by these amazing organizations on the bottom of the slide. So check them out. They're pretty terrific organizations and they're giving away some really good stuff. Also, because you're attending Shift today, you are eligible to win a copy of Lindsey Pollak's new book, Recalculating. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Let's get right into the session. I want to introduce my friend, Lindsey Pollak. So her bio is pretty extensive. I'm just going to give you the highlights. She is a best-selling author and an amazing speaker and a consultant. Her new book is Recalculating, but she's written other books like The Remix and Becoming the Boss and Getting from College to Career. But more importantly, beyond being a workplace expert, she has amazing glasses. So, Lindsey, how you doing today?
I am great. I warned you that a really big alarm was going to go off right at noon, and it did. So thanks for covering for it. Thank you for the glasses, love. It's my new COVID look, and I'm going to keep it post-COVID.
I love it. It's amazing. So everybody feel free to chat with Lindsey, pay attention, and I'll be back to manage the Q&A in about 20 minutes. Bye.
Lori, thank you so much. Thank you to Mary Ellen and Rex and Devin and the whole team at Shift. Thank you to all of you for joining us today. I am so delighted to be here among so many of my friends and colleagues in the career space. I am here, as Lori mentioned, to talk about my new book, Recalculating: Navigate Your Career Through the Changing World of Work. This is, in fact, my fourth book, as I have on my LinkedIn profile, and I welcome all of you to connect with me if that would be valuable. But I want to start with the very simple and honest fact that I did not mean to write a fourth book. I was out there in 2020 promoting my book, The Remix, minding my own business, doing my thing. And if everybody goes back with me to that moment in March of 2020, which I'm sure we're talking a lot about today, I was not able to keep going on the path I wanted to go on. I am a speaker by training, and I had a fully booked calendar of speeches. And in March 2020, my calendar in about a 2-week period went from fully booked and fully busy to completely empty. And I had a moment in my apartment in New York City where I was staring out the window at all the cars on the street, thinking, what am I going to do? And I had that moment, this feeling like when you're driving your car and you hit a wrong turn or traffic or something goes wrong and your GPS kind of spins for a minute and then it says recalculating. And I thought, gosh, it's like all of us around the whole world, we're sitting in our cars at the same moment and all of our GPSs said recalculating. Wherever you were going, whatever path you were on, nope, you can't go that way anymore. And while that was a really daunting feeling and I was really terrified, I also found it to be kind of an optimistic feeling, because the reality is when my GPS says recalculating, it is sort of optimistic because it means you can still get where you want to go. You're just going to have to do it in a different way. And that's how this book, Recalculating, was born. The other optimistic fact about recalculating is that your GPS never says, sorry, Linz, you need to go back to your driveway and start all over again from scratch. You always take the benefit of the progress you've made and the skills and the connections that you have and apply it to your next move. So I really ran with this metaphor, as you'll see in this presentation, of how we can all recalculate through the crisis that we're in and out of it, whether you are job hunting or starting a business or have your own business or are very happy in your career. We are all recalculating now, given the environment we're in. So I wanted to share with you my 5 rules for recalculators over about the next 15 minutes, and then I would love to take your questions. So no matter what your situation, we are in a time of change and chaos. We were in it before COVID and it's only accelerated. So the first rule for thriving in this time is to embrace creativity. And I love quotations, so I put a bunch in here for you. Henry Ford famously said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. If I sat there that day in March and said, well, I'm a speaker, all I know how to do is speak on stages, that would not have worked. I had to get really creative. What are the other skills I have? What are the other ways I can speak? How else can I deploy my strengths and my business to achieve my goal, which is staying in business? And I thought the best way to do this was to start with a brainstorm. I sat down and wrote down, and I recommend to you all of the ideas of skills maybe I could get a little better at during this time, industries that maybe I hadn't spoken to that might be options for my speaking, topics that I wanted to learn more about. I ended up enrolling in a diversity, equity, and inclusion MOOC so that I could learn more about that topic and add it to my skills, people I wanted to talk to and meet and ask questions to, organizations and networks I could get more involved in to pivot my business. Where can you think about getting more creative in what you're exposing yourself to on a regular basis to get out of your daily routine and be more successful? Obviously, like most people, I was spending a lot of time on social media. I still do. And I really believe in using social media as a tool. I did a lot of research on social media, and many of us were doom scrolling or we feel bad about ourselves when we're on social media. A lot of that is from passively scrolling and just taking it all in. But there's a lot of research that actively using social media can actually be really beneficial personally and professionally. And what that means is deliberately following industries or employers or topics or people or organizations or causes that are really meaningful to you so that when you open your favorite social media app, you are getting inspiration. And one of the tenets of recalculating is to use envy as a catalyst. If I see Lori's out there doing all this really cool speaking, I'm so jealous of her. Why is she better than me? That's really negative. Or I could say, I want to be more like that. I'm going to follow her and learn from her. So social media can be used in a really active way to help you be more creative. And how it does that is it helps you clarify what you really want. Follow all the stuff that's interesting and see what you actually spend your time looking at. Delete the rest. It gives you reasons to talk to people. It gives you stuff to make you more interesting, especially if you're not working or not sure what you want. It gives you ideas and thoughts and motivation. All of the people that you find out about, you can go and research. Of course, you can share your own content on your own channels to be more interesting and appealing and stand out to others. And it also just makes you feel more confident. So think about how to take any stress or concern, turn it into creativity, and really get out of your head and put things into your stream of consciousness. Rule number 1 is to embrace creativity. Creativity is great, but now let's talk about the second rule, which is prioritizing action. Dale Carnegie, the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, says inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. And this was really surprising to me. I've written a lot of books that are very tactical. And so when I do sessions like this, I usually get tactical questions. What do I put on my resume? What do I say in a job interview? But with this book and with the COVID crisis, the question I got more than any other was, how do I motivate when I'm feeling really down? And my answer to that question is to find yourself a way to take the very, very tiniest baby step you can in the direction of what you want. What is the smallest thing you can do? And a really good mindset to try to adopt to do that is something many of you are probably familiar with, which is the concept of growth mindset, the work of Carol Dweck, who's a professor at Stanford and wrote the terrific book Mindset. We all know a fixed mindset, which is not associated with success and happiness, which is saying something like, I'm just not artistic. I just don't like change. A growth mindset is the opposite, which is, I could probably get good at anything. I embrace challenges. They make me stronger. I like to do things I don't know and I'm not good at. And so to embrace a growth mindset sounds like a really good idea, but it can be really challenging, especially if you're in a time of transition. And so one element of growth mindset really stands out to me, and I recommend it to all of us. I've tried to use it myself, and it's simply using a tiny little 3-letter word. Let me know in the chat if you know what I'm about to say. A little 3-letter word that turns any fixed mindset statement into a growth mindset. And that little word is yet. I'm not artistic yet, but I'm sure if I took a course on drawing, I could get better. I don't like change yet because I haven't figured out how to make it work for me. Hybrid work will never work in my company. Well, maybe hybrid work doesn't work yet. And the reason is we haven't figured out how to get there. So once you apply the word yet, it opens up opportunities. So I encourage you right now to identify one thing where you want to get a little better, one thing where you want to grow, one goal that you have. And then think about the absolute tiniest step you can take to get there. And I'll give you a really personal and really embarrassing example. During COVID and the worst days of quarantine and lockdown, I developed a little bit of a peanut M&M situation. And I was eating a lot of them. They were bright, they were cheerful, they were colorful, they were sweet, and I was going overboard, particularly late at night. And I wanted to eat fewer M&Ms. And I knew that giving them up was not an option, but I thought I could get a little better, growth mindset. And so one day I counted how many M&Ms I ate. Anybody tell me in the chat that you understand, you relate? Was it M&Ms for you? Was it something else? Tell me I'm not alone here. And I wrote down how many M&Ms I ate. Let's just say a round number. Let's say it was 30 peanut M&Ms, although it was probably much more. And I said, okay, if I ate 30 M&Ms today, tomorrow I'm going to try to eat 29 because that's a doable step. I can't give them up, but I can get a little better. Thank you. Peanut butter chocolate chip, peanut butter cups, and Dots pretzels. We all have it. Eating one less. If you want to wake up earlier in the morning and you currently get up at 8, don't set your alarm for 5. It won't work. Set your alarm for 7:55. Small steps will still get you to your destination. Paralysis, not moving forward, is the biggest risk. Thank you for everyone. I feel so much better for you sharing all of your COVID addictions in the chat. Ooh, Skittles, Jenny's ice cream. These are so good. Potato chips, fudge bars. All right, good thing it's lunchtime here on the East Coast. Recalculator rule number 3 is to control what you can. I am a certified card-carrying control freak, and the environment of COVID was really tough for control freaks like me. Maybe you relate. But Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. But if you can't change it, really your only option is to change your attitude. So if you find yourself struggling and stressing out about all the things we can't control, the economy, the virus, the variants, when and if we go back to the office, hybrid or in person or some other model, other people, so hard to control, stop. There's nothing you can do about that. Here's what you can always control, no matter what is going on in the world: your attitude, your work ethic, your daily habits, your boundaries. Where can you take control? And I do a lot of speaking to college students and recent grads, and I always show this poster: 10 things that require 0 talent and 10 things that are totally in your control. Being on time, work ethic, your body language when you first log into a Zoom call or talk to somebody difficult, being prepared. Spend your time and energy focused on the areas where you are able to control. Try to leave everything else. Another story about this, as I mentioned, my business absolutely tanked at the beginning of COVID, and I was scrambling. And I was looking around at what other people were doing on social media again and feeling bad about myself, feeling imposter syndrome. And there was one author and speaker who had an adjunct teaching job at 2 really prestigious universities. And of course, I thought, well, she's perfect and amazing, and thought about this earlier. I put all my eggs in the speaking basket. I'm a loser. Nothing's ever going to work out for me. She must be magical, and had those opportunities fall in her lap. And then I thought, wait, maybe I can find out more. So I called her and I said, how'd you get those adjunct teaching positions? And she said, I applied to 200 universities and 2 of them hired me. That's work ethic. That's attitude. That's focus. That's doing extra. I can do those things. It's not magic. Control what you can. Rule number 4 of 5 for recalculators: know your non-negotiables. In challenging times or when making a transition, you're probably going to have to make some compromises, but you are not going to have to compromise on everything. As Angelina Jolie said, every day you get to choose who you are by how you define yourself. So make sure that you are clear on your top priority in your next career decision, whether it's changing careers, looking for a job and negotiating for what you need, starting a business, or anything else in your life. What is the most important factor that you need to have? Once you're clear on that and you satisfy that need, you'll be much more willing to bend in other areas. I interviewed a young woman who had graduated from college, wasn't able to find a job with her degree. So she got the only job she could during COVID, which was working at a grocery store checkout. Was it her dream job? Nope. Was it a career builder? Nope. But did it pay her salary, which made her able to pay her bills and live in the town she wanted? Yes, that was her top priority. And by doing that and fulfilling that need, she told me that she actually enjoyed the job. She liked talking to people. She liked being out there. She liked learning new things about the grocery store and how people shopped. Because she was satisfying her top priority, she was able to bend on the other areas and turn them into growth opportunities. Now, some people say, well, I don't know what my top priority is. I want to offer you a free assessment, totally free. Just give your email address. There's no upsell. It's powered by my brand partner, Capfinity. Just go to lindseypollak.com/SP. This is a way to help clarify your priorities and your goals and your strengths, which is the things you're good at and enjoy for your next opportunity. lindseypollak.com/SP. And finally, the last rule before we break for Q&A is to ask for help. Beautiful African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And I'm really proud to say that my first instinct in March of 2020 was to reach out to people and ask for help. It's a really hard thing to do, but I've learned over a 20-year career that you never have to be alone. And you don't have to find one perfect person to help. You can reach out to lots of people. I really believe in redefining the idea of mentoring, whether it's on a long-term basis or a short-term. This stat says 75% of executives point to mentoring as playing a key role in their careers. Notice it doesn't say one perfect be-all and end-all Yoda-like mentor. It's the act of mentoring, which you can have in your life in multiple ways. I hope you're getting mentoring. I know you're getting mentoring during this conference. There's traditional mentoring of someone older and amazing who can teach you what to do, but I couldn't find anyone who was a professional speaker during a global pandemic who could give me advice. So I looked to co-mentors, peers who could mentor me. I looked to micro-mentoring, which was podcasts and little tweets and moments that would give me ideas. And I love, love, love the idea of a personal advisory board, which is having multiple people to turn to and ask for help. Once I diversified the people that I talked to about my own situation, I was able to get really creative ideas. If everyone I spoke to was a 46-year-old white woman in New York City who was a professional speaker, I don't think I'd be very creative. I had to diversify my sources of help and information to diversify my ideas. And I know it can be really hard to ask for help, but I wanted to end on a really positive stat that I found out, which is in April of 2020, when the pandemic was at its height, Google searches spiked on the phrase, "How can I help?" People were generically just wanting to help others. I deeply believe that so many of us come from that perspective that we want to help. Do not be afraid to reach out and seek it, knowing that you would provide it to others who need it as well. So I would love to be of help to you. If you go into the handout section of this program, I have a free download that goes into more detail on these 5 rules for recalculators. You can also grab your phone, send a text to 66866 with the word career. That will give you more resources as well as my direct email address. Text career to 66866. And with that, I want to thank Lori and Mary Ellen and the whole team at Shift. We are all recalculators together. I look forward to seeing you on your journey. Thank you so much.
Lindsey, wow, that was terrific. And I learned something new each time. And I know everybody kind of went in the chat and talked about what their one thing was that they ate during COVID. You know, we've got a lot of M&Ms, so a lot of like-minded spirits there. But I discovered that I wanted to eat blizzards and McFlurries. And so I would put on my mask and go through the drive-through and get my hand sanitizer all ready to go. And I must have eaten probably 200 McFlurries, which I'm now paying for right now. So, but they were M&M McFlurries. So I had.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
So kindred spirits there, absolutely. Well, we've got some good questions. Are you ready to go with them?
Ready to go.
Okay. Well, the first one is that people are all down with recalculating, but it all comes down to money, right? And there is this assumption that you got to be wealthy or have some money stocked away in order to make a career change. So can you talk to me about the role of cash and where that comes in with all of this?
Yeah, this goes back to your priorities. Cash is king, but not for everybody and not to the same extent. So don't tell me I need more money or I can take less money. Tell me the number. Don't tell me, but make clear to yourself. And I'll tell you, I'm in a situation now where, we're thinking of moving. And I said to someone, well, that's too expensive. And she said, well, how much more expensive? Give me a dollar amount. So I think it's about getting very clear that I can make X number of dollars, but absolutely not a dime below it. So get really clear on your numbers. How important is money to you and exactly what numbers are we talking about?
That's really great advice.
And then don't bend. And then don't bend.
Right. So I'm sorry to step on you. I love the world of Zoom here. Somebody just left a comment in the section and it says, what if you have no skills?
Everybody has skills. Absolutely everybody on earth. Please, 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 please go to lindseypollak.com/SP and it will show you skills can be kindness. Skills can be caring. Skills can be empathy. Skills can be data analysis. Everybody has skills that apply to certain careers, and I promise that you have them. Just have to identify what they are.
It's really wise. You know, one of the things I hear from you and so many others in this field is this notion of self-compassion. So how important is self-compassion on this journey? Can you speak to that?
It's so hard. I struggle with this all the time. I talk about this in therapy. I have an appointment at 3:00 today. I'm sure we'll be talking about this very subject. Self-compassion is, number one, realizing that you're not alone and other people often have the same feelings. I think we can often feel very isolated and struggle with our emotions and say, well, I must be the only one who's feeling that way. And I think about that story of the adjunct teacher where I thought, well, everything good happens to other people. Self-compassion is also knowing when you need a break or knowing when you need to mourn. I know a lot of people who were laid off who had to be sad for a while, and that's okay. You don't have to get on the horse the next day and say, it's all right, it's perfect, it's fine. And I think we all learned during COVID that a lot of us cope in different ways. So as much as I joke about the M&Ms, no, I didn't give them up. I had compassion for myself that that's what I needed in that moment. Your 200 flurries, you needed that in the moment. And yeah, it had some consequences, but it's okay. So self-love, self-worth, self-compassion. And when you don't feel those things, reach out to the people who you know will be more compassionate to yourself than you will. But I know it's hard.
Really good stuff. There are people in there who are talking about their superpowers. And so I wonder, Lindsey, you've talked about your superpowers a little bit. I would love for other people to drop it in there. I think your comment about compassion and empathy can be superpowers, right? What are some other non-traditional skills that people have that you think may be unheralded or even unrecognized that can be helpful as they pivot and recalculate?
It's probably what we tend to call soft skills, which I'm actually hearing people call human skills, which I really like, which is a lot of things remember that book, Everything You Need to Know You Learned in Kindergarten?
For sure, yeah.
So it's sharing, it's compassion, it's kindness, it's helping, it's positivity, it's stick-to-itiveness. It's a lot of the things on that chart of things that require no talent. I think it's identifying those and being able to speak to them. And I think a lot of people who I interviewed for Recalculating who did this well were people who had stayed at home with children or for elder care or in some way were out of the traditional workforce and were able to talk about the skills that they had built, organizing, compassion, caring, outside of the paid workforce that had very valued skills in the workplace as well. Everybody has skills. You just have to be able to talk about them in a context of a work environment.
Good stuff. Well, Lindsey, as we wrap up the session today, just a reminder to everybody here, you are entered to win a copy of Lindsey's fourth book, Recalculating, which I have 2 copies of. I'm super, super lucky. So thank you for that. Also, everybody who's watching, please check Lindsey out on LinkedIn as she invited you to, and also on her website, lindseypollak.com / is it SP Lindsey, to make sure everybody gets to where they need to go to do the strengths assessment, correct?
Correct. I'll type it in. It's lindseypollak.sp, and that stands for Strengths Profile.
Perfect. And then finally, Lindsey, we've got about 3 minutes left. I wonder if you have any closing thoughts for anybody here who may be struggling, who wants to recalculate. They're almost brave. They're almost there. What's the first thing they should do tomorrow?
Actually, I'm going to tell them something to do today, which is you are here in a summit of other people who love this stuff and care about this stuff. Introduce yourself in the chat, follow up with people you meet today. These are the super fans. These are the supporters. I find that in these kind of situations, and Lori, you and I go to a lot of them, these are the people who want to help. So don't be shy today about saying, here's my name, here's my LinkedIn profile, here's what I'm looking for, here's what speaks to me. These are your people. So use them, keep in touch with them, and take today beyond the situation that we have here online into the real world.
Really great stuff. Well, everybody, one of the exciting things that's happening next, and I have to get my notes so I can make sure, is that we're going to offer another session with my good friend Ching Valdezco. It's called 6 Steps to Successful Negotiations. So that's coming up. And we hope you all join us for that. And Lindsey, once again, thank you for your time today. You know, one of the beautiful things about being a speaker, being a thought leader, is that I get to learn from other people. And you are absolutely someone I have learned from over the past decade. So thank you for that.
Ditto, my friend. Thank you for having me. And thank you to everyone who joined today. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck.
Sounds good. And everybody, up next is Ching Valdezco. Stay tuned, and we'll see you at the top of the hour. Bye.